What is up, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Don't Shoot Disc Golf podcast. I am your host, Harry Messenger, and welcome to the show live from my studio here in South Manchester. This is episode number 58, and I want to give a massive shout out to my show sponsors, as always, London Disc Golf Community for sponsoring the YouTube stream, and Disc Golf UK for making the show happen. So hello to everybody, and welcome back once again to another episode. I'm really glad to see some people here in chat to hang out with me tonight, and tonight's guest, of course, is Matthew Wright. We've got Matthew hanging out with us tonight, come to talk about the Arrow Valley League and all of their shenanigans. So without any further ado, Matthew, are you there?
Evening.
Good evening, good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be on.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Thanks for volunteering and coming to tell us a
right.
little bit about what you've been getting up to. So for those people in the chat who might not know who you are, why don't you let us know who you are and what you do?
So I'm Matthew Wright. I am at the moment the tournament director for Arrow Valley Disc Golf. We are a disc golf club based in Redditch. We're trying to focus more on the beginner and family side to introduce more people in the community to the game, grow the club and the sport as a result. And we've recently set up the Arrow Valley Disc Golf League, which is catering to beginners as well as more experienced players to bring those beginner players into competition play.
Very good, very good. It's something that I've always thought we needed more of in the UK, because there's lots of great ways for up and running tournament players to compete, and lots of great ways for casual players to just enjoy the course on a regular day. But the transition between the two is something that's often harder to come by. So I'm glad that you guys are down there doing it, and wish you the best of luck with it. So
thank you.
So we'll get on to a little bit about the Arrow Valley League a little bit later on in the show. But for now, do you want to give us a little bit more of an introduction to to who you are and what you do.
So I recently started about March 2020. Played a couple of rounds before that, but really started then. Haven't improved much since then, but I've played a few tournaments. Well, a fair few tournaments now. Obviously a bit COVID interrupted. I came from Ultimate, played Ultimate for 5 years, uni, and then just after uni. So that's where I got into the disc, and then obviously COVID hit, and disc golf became a way of getting out and playing. So
nice.
that's
So it's been cool to see so many players come over from Ultimate during the lockdowns. It's been like an unintended benefit. So it's been nice to welcome you guys in.
Keep them.
Yeah. Well, quite a lot of the players up here in Manchester who started in the lockdown are people who used to play Ultimate.
Yeah.
Sort of like retired Ultimate players, and they're very good at disc golf. It's a bit demoralizing.
De facto retired.
Yeah,
don't have the fitness for Ultimate anymore.
We'll see some of their names on the list. We're gonna show when we get to the bit about ratings today, because they're pretty good at disc golf. Before we get on to the UK disc golf news, I've got a couple of little bits of housekeeping to go through. So firstly, I've got to promote my Berg only event. Let's jump into a screen share so you guys can see. We've got the prize discs for the Berg only event. I don't know if you've seen any of these, Matthew. We've had Sam George do the prizes. So I'll share these with you guys. There's still places left for the Berg only event, so if you want a shot at winning these discs, plenty of time to sign up. It's not this weekend, but next weekend. It's on the Sunday, only on the Sunday. It's only going to be like 4 to 6 hours worth of time. You need to be there. You get to pick your own card. You get to just hang out. There's going to be some cool, unique holes. There's going to be a hole where you have to play it with a mini. There's going to be mini Bergs provided that you can play the hole with. There's going to be a hole playing down the side of Disc Golf UK's factory. So it's like an urban disc golf hole. There's going to be some fun park holes. There's going to be free food. You get 2 unique discs with this artwork that's only for these events.
Brilliant.
The Battenberg, Swedish for Berg only is Baraberg, so we stole that and made a Battenberg. And the best part is for the 2 discs, all of the event and stuff is only £40, so fairly affordable as well. So yeah, this is the first prize. This will be for the overall winner of the event. So you're gonna have to bring your A game with your Bergs to have a shot at this one, but this is it's pretty neat. And then this is for we're gonna have this longest drive hole. So most of the holes are going to be a little bit shorter, sort of 40 to 70 meter range, because we don't want people to not be able to get there in 2 shots or anything on a par 3. But this is for a hole we're calling the Elias Landfor hole. He was a guy who won at the Berg only event they did in Sweden a few years ago. He won the distance contest. So the hole is 112 meters because that's how far he threw his Berg. And whoever in our group throws the longest drive on the Berg hole, on the longest drive hole, longest air shot drive, we're going to clarify, is going to win this disc. And yeah, pretty one. And then there's going to be, I'm going to zoom in on this one because it's so good. So we're going to have a putting contest as well while we're there. We're setting up a basket. We're going to have you're going to have 5 shots to get your. You can pick how far you want to putt from, either 5 to 9 meters for each one of your 5 shots, and whoever gets the best overall score on the Berg putting is going to win the Casterplast Sinking Titanic Berg disc. So some of the really coolest prizes I've ever seen at a disc golf competition, I think. So really looking forward to that.
Love the idea of the putting contest and the distance drive. We need more of that sort of thing at tournaments because it makes it more entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. The whole point of the event, it's not sanctioned. Each round is only going to be 13 holes, or is it 14 holes per round? So it's going to be quite a short event. There's not too much disc golf there's plenty of disc golf because you're throwing with Berg, so it's going to take ages. But there's not too many holes. It's going to be very chill, casual. You can start round 2 with the same group you've played round 1 with whenever you feel like it. You don't have to come and hang out at the Fly Mart if you don't want to, but I imagine most people will want to. But yeah, there's going to be sideshows and lots of cool things happening. Very excited. So yeah, the other thing that we have to do before we can get cracking with the rest of the show is we've got this. So we did our charity event where we raised money for Edge Disc Golf about 2 months ago now, and Jay from Edge. Let me switch it over to the big camera. Here we go. Jay from Edge sent us this disc. So this is a fairly old Innova Star Wraith, max weight. And there was no instructions on what I'm doing with this disc, so we've decided we're going to give it away to one random person who either bid on something, whoever either won a auction or donated something to the auction. So if you donated 2 things, you get 2 entries. We've got a list put together. Here's the list. Boom. There we go. Here's the list. Got a list of names down here. So anybody who bought something, anybody who donated something is on the list. There's exactly 100 names on the list. So we're going to do a random draw, 1 to 100. Whoever gets the random draw is going to get this Wraith shipped to them as a thanks from us and from Edge. Pretty cool. So without further ado, 34 and 34. Okay, so 34 is Disc Golf UK. I'm not sure if you can see that on the list. So Disc Golf UK are the winners of the draw. I'm going to donate the disc to Disc Golf UK. They can decide what they want to do with it. If they want to auction it for charity, if they want to display it in their office. Disc Golf UK supported the auction in a great way, donated several lots, so it's not really surprising that they were on the list, but I will get in contact with them and see what they want to do with it. And yeah, thanks to everybody for taking part. Kind of funny that they won. Get back to the right screen again. Everything's in the wrong order since last week. We had a bit of a weird episode last week, but there we go. We're back. So housekeeping taken care of. Would be remiss of me not to mention that there's also, I think, 7 or 8 places left in the Manchester Wide Open, which is the 2-day IM tournament directing in July. So if anybody's looking for something to do the first weekend in July, there's still a couple of places. So go check that out now while you listen and sign up. It's £30, and we're doing payouts of 100% for Open and about 90 or 80% for AMs in vouchers, and it should be a good day. Okay. Time for the UK Disc Golf News. And the first thing in the UK Disc Golf News has got to be Arrow Valley Disc Golf League's first sanctioned event.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
So we primarily play the league at Arrow Valley. It's a 9-hole course that we've developed a back 9 to. We'll get onto that a bit later. This time round, we're playing away at Bedworth. So we play 3 events across the 10 events at 18-hole proper courses, such as Quarry Park is going to be our next one in August. This weekend, we're going to Bedworth. It's a slightly adapted from the blue par 56, so it's a par 54, but avoids the crossing of paths so that we can avoid holds up when people are walking past on the paths. So hopefully a bit more fluid round, be able to get through it a bit quicker. And with 3 to a card as well, it's hopefully going to flow.
Very nice.
Keep it going.
So, so what was the inspiration behind doing sanctioning for this one? Because I know that most of your events are unsanctioned.
So a lot of the league is focused on what the players want. We've had a lot of players asking, is it going to be sanctioned? Why isn't it sanctioned? Because our Arrow Valley events haven't been so far. We can't quite get the number there to make it viable. So we chose Bedworth. We had the player numbers there. And we thought it's time to give it a shot. So I got my official certification, and we got it through, and yeah, the player numbers boomed from there.
Very good. So what's your field looking like?
We've got a pretty wide open field. It's MA3 and below plus protected divisions. So we've got some experienced players up in there. We've also got a lot more beginners, Not too many MA4s with PDJ certification, but still should be a good number to contest. We've got a really, really good MA3 field, and especially the MA40s as well. Some cracking players, including our league leader, Andrew Dowse.
Very good. So to clarify, this is people who aren't able to play in the Quarry Park event that's on the same day.
Yes. So people who previously played at the AM event who, either can't make this next event, the Quarry Park Open, or can't commit to the 2 days, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's nice to give people
it's
an
an
option.
alternative. Yeah, it's an alternative where they can't make the other one, not as a replacement.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that we're at the point in the UK Disc Golf where there's enough diversity in players where you can have 50 or so players playing your Bedworth event on the Sunday and have a pretty much full Quarry Park field of, I think it's 80 something players. So it's quite nice that we've reached the point where, because historically it's never really been possible to have two concurrent events, but nice that we're reaching that point.
No, but we are reaching that point. Yeah,
very exciting. Yeah, we were considering having to expand our Manchester event to be at two courses simultaneously. We were expecting that many players, and
that's a big undertaking.
That's coming later in the year or next year, depending on when we finally get our Lilford Park course approved and installed. So
it's brilliant to see disc golf going that way. We need to get more players. We need to keep building from here.
Yeah, well, if you ever come up into Manchester, you'll be transitioning from we need to get more players to we need to get more courses, because on a busy summer day here we're getting hundreds and hundreds of players through the course now, and it's not unsurprising to have to wait quite a long time on tees now. So finally reaching that point where we need to expand, which is good because we are. So other things in the UK Disc Golf news this week, of course, we've got the Quarry Park Open presented by Ace Disc Golf. We're going to switch back to our screen share, if I can push the right buttons, and we'll talk about the Quarry Park Open, because this has been my major focus. This is, for me, one of the biggest events of the year. It's a Pro-Am B tier, so there'll be a decent amount of added cash. I'm not sure if that's been published or not, but there will be. It's this weekend. Tournament director Derek Robbins, of course, at his own course. 83 signed up players according to PDJ, and really deep field considering there's barely any MA. There's no MA3 division or anything. It's the higher rated players only. They've had to split the tournament for this. So the Open division is, I am gonna put my neck on the line and say this is the deepest Open field we've had.
It's a shocker, isn't it?
In a very long time in the UK. Since I've been playing, I think probably. We've got 16 Open players. Almost everybody is 930 to over 1,000. We've got Joe O'Brien with his 1,008 rating. There's going to be some fierce competition. We'll get back onto this in a little bit when we talk about the ratings update. But here we've got some of Manchester's players coming down, Ultimate players who have got incredible ratings these days.
Yeah.
When you've got people like Jamie Matthews and Ben Jeffrey who have been competing for the win in Open events this year, down here, this far down the list, it's a stacked division.
It's a new one to behold, isn't it?
It really is. We've got our Open women, our sort of, as I call them, the down south Open women, which is cool to see. We've got Sue and Sean and Ala. We've got some Pro Masters, a big division actually, 12 Pro Masters. So again, lots of competition going to be had here. Nice to see Jester out playing again. Of course, Ian coming down from Manchester, Derek, and a lot of others as well. Even got two people playing Pro Masters 50 plus, which is exciting. And then the intermediate division, which is the one I'll be in. We're talking about stacked divisions in the Pro divisions. Yeah. How about this 30-player intermediate division where little humble brag here, finally hit 900 rating this month, and I'm all the way down here on the list in the AM division. So
I know that feeling. I just keep scrolling because I find mine at the bottom.
Yeah, well, this is career high rating for me, and I'm still not even in the top half. So it's gonna be a crazy one. My personal goals, top 10 in this division. I think that'll be. You'll have to average over 900 to get in the top 10. Well over 900, I would think. So looking forward to giving it a try. And then there is a rec division, 20 players in the rec division, with people ranging from no rating first tournament, which there really aren't anybody because this is the higher rated set of the two, like I said before, all the way up to 880 people in the higher ratings. So like I said, very stacked tournament. I'm gonna guess that this is the highest average rating that a UK tournament's ever had.
It can't
Maybe
be far off if it's not.
Without the AMs there, yeah.
That pro field is just incredible.
It's so crazy. And speaking of the pro field, here we have the UK latest ratings update was this week, of course. I got mine up to 901, very pleased with that. But some of these guys, incredibly high ratings. Joe O'Brien holding it down at 1008. Ben Davies still over 1000 as well. Noah up to 989. Connor 988. Dan and Ryan 987. How long has it been in the UK since we've had that many players over 980? It's just ridiculous to see. Congrats to last week's guest Josh on his little +7 bump to 970. If we look at the PDGA rankings for the UK this year so far, so this is based on points. Josh leading the field so far this year. So congrats to Josh. A lot of the down south boys in here playing the league as well, playing a lot of the tournaments. They've managed to rack up some points. So good to see Josh at the top. Yeah, that's most of the UK disc golf news. We've of course got some of the some news from the States. We had the Portland Open, so tune away now if you've still not caught up on the JMS coverage, if you plan to. But they had a pro purse of $56,000 with 25 grand of added cash. So it's starting to get there. The numbers are starting to get slightly impressive. And of course we had Eagle McMahon taking the win in one of the most dramatic final rounds of the year. I would recommend going to check it out if you watch it. And then we had Paul and Ricky tied for second. Calvin rounding out the top four with Kevin Jones. So we've got our 1050 rated boys hanging out at the top. Really nice to see Simon Azot back on lead card after his injury, and a lot of other long throwers competing up here. Shout out to Brody Smith. If you look at these ratings, everyone here over 1015, over 1020, and then Brody still 10,007, but in 13th place, so pretty impressive. Of course, we've got to talk about the women. Paige Pierce taking her 4th win in a row. Kat Allen holding on, only 3 shots behind, and then a big gap again. Ella Hansen coming over from Ultimate only a year and a half ago and making it all the way up to 3rd. I was going
to say that PDJ number compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, she threw
stands out like a sore thumb, doesn't it?
Yeah, she threw her first disc golf disc a year and a half ago, and she's placing 3rd in Open. So
I wish I could be doing that.
Yeah, me too. One to watch for sure. And congrats to the rest of the women on their placing, and the payouts for the women's division are great as well.
Yeah, brilliant to see.
Yeah, good effort to the PDGA to the Disc Golf Pro Tour, in fact, for getting that up and running. So, chat.
I started off watching Joe Mays before I started playing. They make it so it looks so much easier than it is.
Yeah, they do make it look so much easier.
Yeah.
So we've got any other UK Disc Golf news that I've forgotten about to cover? If there's anything I've missed, let us know in the chat. Ollie wants me to show rated rounds. I'm not sure quite how I would do that, but I think he's had a pretty good one.
Ask him which round of his he wants to show.
Yeah, let me hunt it down for him if I can find it. If he played more tournaments, he'd be on my leaderboard, and then I'd be able to find it. There we go. We'll give our shout out to Ollie for his rating on his latest round at Battle of the Hill, which was 1021. Well done, Ollie.
Impressive.
Congrats to everybody with their new rated rounds. I had my first 1000 rated round somehow this update, which
very impressive.
Yeah, it was a bit of a interesting one. It was provisionally 952, and then when the actual ratings came out, it got boosted all the way up to 1000. So I'm not going to pretend to understand how that happened, but I'm also not going to complain about it. Yeah, Ollie said he meant for the Portland Open course. Sure you did, Ollie. Sure, definitely nothing to do with your 1021. Shout out to everyone in chat as well, by the way. Hi, Rafa. Hi, Josh. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Mark. Cool. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Ara Valley, Matthew.
Yes,
let's do that. Where do you want to go first with this?
Oh, don't know. Any areas that interest you?
Yeah, well, I as somebody also starting out running tournaments, interested in running some more later in the year. It's a lot of work, as we were talking about before the start of the show. I've been filling out spreadsheets all week so far.
Yeah.
Checking payments against my listings. But yeah. So what would your advice be to someone starting out running tournaments from your experience so far?
I don't think "don't" is the right word, but be prepared is probably a better term. It's a lot of work. It is, no denying that, but it is very worthwhile. I'd advise that you make sure you know what you're doing, make sure you're prepared, make sure you're checking off all the boxes, making sure you do everything. It only takes one little thing to miss and you're liable for something. It's not an easy thing, but as long as you're prepared and you've got a brilliant team around you, you need other people to depend on. And at Ara Valley, we have a brilliant team of committed members who are there. They make the prizes, they set up the course, they maintain the course. We've got people out with strimmers every other weekend, sort of thing, doing work before an event. It's a big team commitment, and it takes a lot of people to set up. It's not just me. So make sure you've got the people around you and that you're prepared for what's about to come, because it does get very, very busy.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something I can already attest to. If I didn't have some of the other Manchester committee members to jump on some of the menial tasks and volunteer to help out with some of the other stuff, I don't know where I would be, because like you said, it's a lot of work. We did a test event at our club night this week for some of the new out of bounds areas that we wanted to add for the tournament, and even just going around with the spray paint cans was more effort than you would possibly think.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it, but it really is.
Yeah,
we've got some brilliant members who will go out on the course very early in the morning before a tournament to get stuff ready, and it's a testament to them that these events can go on.
Yeah, likewise. I'm definitely going to delegate the spray painting next time, because my hand swelled up from whatever the aerosol was doing. So either gloves or delegation, I think. But it's always a fun one.
It's not the sort of thing as I can't keep on top of everything with the course, especially with the Bedworth event. We are far away from it personally, but we've got some brilliant members who are local to it, so who have been designating the OB, playing the new tees to make sure it's suitable. So thanks to them as well. It doesn't just mean that it's local people who come out and do a lot. There are other people who are involved, and it makes a big difference when you've got those people involved.
That's great. Yeah, it definitely helps. So what do you think the bit that surprised you most about running tournaments, running events was?
I think what surprised me was the attitude of the players to wanting to help, to be a part of this, essentially a project that we've started. The league isn't quite like other leagues. It's not as serious. There's not as much competition. It is a lot of fun, and I think the members that certainly they paid for membership up front, bought into that idea of being able to go out and have fun with your mates on a Sunday, but have competition, have scoring, have format, have some structure to it, but essentially just want to have fun with their mates. And obviously with the Bedworth uptake, I think more people are buying into the fact that you don't have to go into every event being super competitive, trying to win everything. Some people just want to sit back and relax and play, and that's what I think we've done, is given that to people.
Yeah, really, definitely agree that you have. I think it's something critical to have these kind of more casual events that newer players can join in and get their first tastes of experience. I know I've been promoting the Ara Valley ones in the Manchester local groups as a really good way to get your first taste of competitive action. We get people come to us all the time saying, I'd really love to get involved in these tournaments, but I don't think I'm good enough to be recreational. I don't think I'm good enough to play a novice. So it's good to have that.
Even at my first tournament, it's MA4 is hugely overpopulated compared to other divisions. It is a big division, and FA4 is even catching up now with being big divisions. That obviously with the limitation of the PDGA and their divisions, there isn't anything lower than that. I think there maybe needs to be that sort of, we're a different country. We don't have the same feed-in structure towards players. They don't start out as young as they do in the US, but something that we're looking to target is getting kids involved in playing the sport.
Definitely.
It's key to building the sport, is introducing players young. So we're hoping to, in the new year, be working with schools. We are starting a partnership with a local college with the kids with additional needs, helping them get out on the course.
Fantastic.
Lots of community work is starting to be put into the pipeline. Obviously, the league was just a start for our club.
Yeah, it's really nice to see that, and every time there's a school group at Manchester or the scouts are out with their discs, it's always really cool to see some more people getting involved with the communities. I know I'm going to be going in. My wife runs a Rainbows unit, and I'm going to go in and do a little demo for some rainbows and get them to do some putting and stuff. So that should be fun. But yeah, growing the sport for the next generation is just as important as growing it for ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's something really interesting that a lot of people have been talking about, actually, the divisions and what the BDGA should do to cater to all these new players that have taken up disc golf lately. And when we changed the structure a few years ago to be MA4, MA3, MA2, and then Open, we lost MA1 out of the rankings, and there's been a little bit of talk about whether we should be reintroducing MA1 as a place for the better players who are in amateur to go, and then encouraging everybody to move up like a little bit to leave MA4 for some newer players. And rebalancing the divisions with recommended rating gaps and stuff. And I think if we look at the Quarry Park sign-ups, just as an example, there's 25 people who are rated over 900 who are in MA2, and you could just have some of those players move up to MA1, which we don't even offer right now, and then move some people down.
I suppose in this country, look at MA1 as the top division where you don't want to win cash prizes, you don't want to go pro just yet. It's that gap between amateur and pro that you don't get with MA2.
Yeah, and I think historically we did have MA1 a few years ago, and the decision was made that the people who were playing MA1 would be fine in MA2 or Open, and it made the problem, because back in the day there weren't people signing up at the rate they are now. You would maybe have 35 people at most tournaments, and so you didn't really need to have 4 AM divisions. But now we're filling pretty much every tournament. I feel like, especially with the decision this year to not include MA4 in the British Championships, I think it just makes sense to reopen MA1 and have the divisions be slightly more balanced. I'll be interested to see what the BDGA have to say about that at their next AGM.
Yeah. It's got to be an evolution, and at the time it probably was the best decision because it was evolving with the sport. But it has been a boom this last year in disc golf, and I think it's time to harness it and make sure that everyone is catered for. Yeah,
and I think the growth we've seen this year will continue as well. Even as people start getting back to their normal lives and being able to go out and do other activities other than disc golf, I think especially this next year that's coming up now, we'll still see a large amount of growth in the competitive scene, just because a lot of the people who do continue playing casually will finally get to the point where they think they're good enough to compete.
Exactly.
And think they'll be able to join in. So I think we will still see more growth and more competition for tournament places. It's been interesting to see the numbers. The numbers this year have sort of, for one days, you could probably sell out 300 places for a one-day tournament this year on the same day because there's just that many people who want to play it. 2 days, it feels like getting about 80 to 90 is possible, but probably not a lot more. That's what we've seen with the Longford Open and with Manchester Wide Open, and that's what we've got at Quarry Park. I think just with the geographical distribution, you could probably have 2 separate 90-player tournaments, one in the south, one in the north, maybe. But I don't think you're going to get 300 people signing up for a 2-day yet. But we're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah, I think it's about collaboration. You know, at the end of the day, I know we're running the same weekend as the Quarry Park Open, but there's no sort of competition there. Whereas if you took some of the other tournaments, you don't want to play on those weekends where Quarry Park Open is. You know, there needs to be more collaboration between TDs. If there's new TDs, bring them in and work together. You know, pool resources, make sure that we're growing it as one.
Yeah, definitely. And equally, I think that need to have the absolute hard and fast rule of not having 2 tournaments on the same day in the UK, if one of them's a B tier, probably isn't quite as necessary anymore, just because if you wanted to run one tournament in the Midlands and one tournament up in Manchester, or one tournament in Scotland and one tournament on the South Coast, like there's still going to be so many options for people that you're not going to see that punishing effect of people not being able to be at both.
Exactly. There needs to be a better distribution, you know. We need to treat it as make sure that everyone has an option to play.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. Cool. So you said you wanted to talk a little bit about entry fees for tournaments.
Yeah, I thought it'd be good to mention, you know, when I started in the sport, obviously I started out in the middle of a time where there were no tournaments, so I haven't had much experience of seeing lots of tournaments go on. But I've noticed the trend of tournaments being upwards of £30 sort of thing, which isn't unreasonable at all. You know, you'd expect that to pay that at most sports events that you go to competitively. But when you look at, say, families looking to play or younger people looking to play, that is it can end up becoming a big outgoing that some people can't afford. You know, it needs to be affordable for everyone. Yes, there is definitely a place for tournaments that charge higher fees, that give you player packs and big prizes and stuff, but we've got a league running for £6 a player. You get bespoke prizes made by one of our own members. You know, it's a full day's tournament. We proved that you could do it with sanctioning as well. You know, we're not going to profess and say that we are the best tournament out there, because I think there are a lot, you know, better tournaments that, you know, offer the prize money. We can't do that sort of thing on the budget that we run, but we are obviously looking at a different target market. So I think there needs to be more of a balance in between that, so you don't have tournaments we're running, or, you know, Sunday Service League, I think is about £10 a person, and then there's that big gap up then to £30-40 for events. There needs to be a good variation, so that people can afford, you know, to do more events than just the odd one here and there.
Like you said, it's about that diversity of options, and the more tournaments we can get running, the more people who'll be able to pick and choose the ones that they feel like they can play at. Exactly. And yeah, like you say, like the local leagues where you can get some rated rounds in for cheap, like at Sunday Service. Your league where you can get some competitive practice in without the sanctioning. It's a great way to reduce the costs. And like you said, it is possible to run a tournament on a budget if you need to. And I really like having the option. Some of the best tournaments I've ever been to have been expensive. Like
exactly.
One of the first tournaments I ever went to was the London Disc Golf Community Valentine's Heartbreaker in 2018 in February. And at the time, there was quite a lot of talk about it being expensive, but in your players pack, you got a disc and a hat and a pencil.
Exactly.
You got 2 rounds of disc. You got 2 days of disc golf on a private course that had never been played before. They put a lot of hours into maintaining the course, setting it up in the snow. They had a big community effort, and the tournament was such a high quality event that nobody was complaining about the cost after it was finished.
Exactly. So, you know, there's not saying that it's not worth the price.
No,
most
sure.
of them are.
But
you need to have that variation.
Yes, you need to be able to offer the options to both. And yeah, like up here in Manchester, we've done 2 tournaments this year. The first one day, £15, of which £10 of that entry was a fundraiser donation. So we actually ran the tournament on a budget of £5 per player, and we were still able to offer voucher prizes. We were still able to offer bags and discs as prizes. Like, it's not as expensive as you think in terms of money to run a tournament, but it is expensive in terms of time. And if you've got that volunteer backing, you've got 10 people willing to give 10 hours each to make the tournament happen, great, you can do it on a budget. If you need to pay someone to do that, if you need to pay entry fees for courses, that's a huge one. Like,
that is a lot.
There's people complaining about the cost of some of the Horsenden Hill tournaments, but they're not taking into account that it costs £20 a day to play there. So there's half your budget gone straight away. It's a different it's a lot of different circumstances, and I think it's great that we've got such a big variety of events that you can cater to everybody's different budgets, and I just can't wait to see it grow. And ideally we'll get to the point where there's so many players that there can be 3 events on the same weekend. One of them can be a 1 day for £10, one of them can be an open B tier with thousands of pounds of added cash and £100 entry per person, and one of them can be in the middle somewhere. Like, I'd love to be able to see all the options.
Yeah, you want to appeal to all players, not just the top end, not even just the bottom end, Of beginners, you want everyone to have that place to play that they feel comfortable playing, that they want to play at. And it's great to see that it's going that way.
Yeah, there's an interesting point from Ollie in the chat. He said, if you can successfully raise sponsorship money from non-disc golf companies, that's the way forward to boost your event.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy.
If it was that easy.
I've spent probably a dozen hours already for this tournament trying to get non-disc golf companies interested in sponsorship, and it's difficult to even get people to reply to your emails or answer your phone calls. Like, it's an effort. So I'm just blown away by some of the things that Ollie's been able to do in London. That
incredible stuff.
Nottinghamshire Disc Golf had like 20 different sponsors for their Women's Global event, and I was just like, the amount of time and effort has gone into that is just crazy.
Yeah, so incredible effort by them at there.
Yeah, I'd love to have Will from Nottingham on the podcast and talk a little bit about that fundraising effort and how they went about that, because I'd love some pointers.
Be interested to know as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of tournament directors would. We'll have to make that happen. Hello to Charlie in the chat. Welcome to the show. I have to have you back on as a guest at some point. That's always fun. So yeah, Matthew, I think it must be time for everyone's favourite segment of the show. It's Desert Island Discs. I know you've been waiting for this one. This is where I say that you're going to be playing a tournament round on a desert island. There's going to be a mix of long holes, some short holes, some water carries, some trees, some open bomber shots. But there's a perk. You're on a desert island. There's lots of water, but it's a magical island, and you're going to get your discs back so you can bring your favourites. But the catch is you can only bring 3: 1 driver, 1 mid-range, and 1 putter. So Matthew, what have you got for us?
Oh, which end do you want to start at?
I'll let you pick.
We'll start at the putter because it's one of my favourites.
The most important disc in your bag, your putter.
So, bit of backstory to this. I played MK Trilogy as my first ever event and completely fell in love with the discs.
Nice.
So much so that they are my main discs now. They're my go-tos. So, starting off with the Crown from Westside? Forgotten.
Maybe. I think so.
Yeah. Just perfect straight flyer. If I can do it from distance, I can do it from short. Not that I ever get it in, but it's reliable. It does the job.
That's what you need from your putter.
And I've recently started buying them up, so I've got a fair few of them now for practice and a basket, and hopefully get that putting up to where I want it to be.
Very good.
Mid-range.
Yes, that's it.
Again, going with the Bounty.
Okay.
The Trilogy Challenge one. I've got one in the harder plastic and one in the softer plastic.
Cool.
So coming from Ultimate, a lot of my throwing can tend to be forehand or a lot of hyzer on the throw. So the Bounty is really good at coming out and coming back in where I want it to.
Nice.
And people who know me know I throw a fair amount of roller shots as well. not a conventional player, but I like the bounty for that because it's got a good amount of turnout before it comes back in, and the hard plastic is nice and hard wearing.
Very
A
good.
couple of chips in it, but it's not too bad. And moving on to what we'll call the driver, I had a revelation just before Christmas. Was always doing cross step run ups. I got advised by someone try standing still and throwing, and I found I got a lot more accuracy and only losing about 10 feet in distance.
Nice.
So I've started stationary throwing, and this SPZ3 really works for me. You know, it comes at the perfect line. I know what line it's going to take. It's quite reliable. Obviously, I don't have the distance that some other players have, but my mid-range shots getting towards the basket, you know, if I'm going for that par, that mid-range shot is what I rely on a lot. Trying to take that reliance away by putting practice and
Definitely.
getting a step back into my game. But although it's a fairway driver, this thing flies, glides nicely.
Yeah.
You know, I am very reliant on those discs. Got a couple of I'd say utility discs that I use. I'm a fan of the Duke for getting out of the rough. Just it has a beautiful wide line when you're trying to get round something and back to the basket. I've got a couple of drivers which I haven't touched in months because I can't quite get them to fly right. So when I do come to tournaments, I just rely on the SPZ3 a lot. And
there's definitely worse things you can do, and the advice about throwing standstill is great advice for any newer players who hear this.
Honestly, anyone struggling with their form, absolutely try it, because it's a massive change when you can focus on what your arm is doing, focus on what your shoulder is doing. You know, if you can get that power into it like I can. Obviously been throwing from stationary for a fair while now, so I'm used to throwing stationary.
Yeah.
But coming from Ultimate, that step out that you take in Ultimate to get around a defending player, it's hard to get out of that.
And a lot of the courses in the UK, if you can throw a 60-meter standstill accurate drive followed by a 35-meter standstill accurate approach shot and then a 5-meter putt, you're going to make par on 100-meter holes. And for a lot of newer players, that's much better than they're currently doing. So it's pretty good advice.
It's what I go back to. You know, I think everyone has those bad rounds where they go, "Oh, I really messed up there," whereas I tend to go back to, I need to par this next one. You know, I'm not looking for the birdie. I'm not looking to push it. I'm just looking to par it and get back on track. Of shameful ratings, shall I say? I went to the Wembley Open and threw, I think across the 2 rounds, I threw 5 + 4 + 5 scores. Completely ruined my weekend and my ratings.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, didn't go back to basics at all. Kept trying to push it, and I know a lot of other players who've done that too. You know, having been TD now, you see all the players' scores and you ask what happened there, and it's got off track and never got back on track.
Yeah, it's so easy to chase what you could have had rather than playing for what you can still have.
Exactly.
I'm gonna give a shout out to one of my local playing partners, Jason McNeese. Jason is a fantastic player, and on our blue courses at Manchester, he managed to birdie 5 out of the first 6 holes in a round we were playing together. And you'd think that would be a good thing, right? But he said to me halfway down hole 6, "You know this is a bad thing, right?" I was like, "You're smashing right now, Jason. You know, it's going to go wrong, and then it's going to go very wrong." And then he got a bogey, and then he proceeded to bogey the next 7 or 8 holes in a row, and then he managed to finish 4 over par. So, you know, if you just take your medicine, play to how you can, then that's good advice for everybody. And I know Jason won't mind me sharing that story.
Yeah. So one thing we are looking to do with the Arrow Valley Disc Golf League is try a new format. You know, you can turn up for the 2 rounds of 18, and for some players, especially over 10 events, it gets a bit monotonous. So we've got 3 trial events that we're running. Our first trial event was a pools and knockouts. So we had 25 players or 24 players split into 4 pools. And your place in the pool decided what pool you went into your second round. So those players who have a good first round can do well and not drop back on that second round, or those players who have a bad first round then can't do better in their second round. Made it a bit of jeopardy to it.
Nice.
The jeopardy, for example, I give a shout out to my brother who shot 17 over at least, I think, on his first round. Absolutely messed it up and ended up in the bottom with novices. He was again, like we were saying, trying to fight back to get that score back, shooting through trees and hitting 3 or 4 trees on his way through. But I think it adds a bit of jeopardy, and it makes it a bit more interesting. So our event, not the next one, but the one after, is going to be a doubles.
Very good.
So you get paired up based on your league ranking, and that's across all divisions. So everyone will get a fair shot at playing. The advanced players will be able to bring the novices on, and vice versa. The intermediate can help out each other. And then our final trial event is going to be a straight knockout. So you'll be paired with, there'll be 4 people to a card per round, playing 1v1 for the first 9, and then you'd go through to the next round against whoever won in the other pair on your card.
Very good.
So just again to add a bit of jeopardy and intrigue to it.
Yeah, that's really fun. That's not something you often see in UK events, because a lot of them tend to be sanctioned, so it's quite hard to mess with that kind of format in sanctioned rounds. But I absolutely loved playing match play like that. I played the Scottish Match Play Championships in
brilliant.
It was one of the last events I played before the first lockdown, and I actually managed to win my match play championship. So that was a really fun experience of getting to go all the way down to the finals and play 1v1 for all the berries.
Yeah, when you're going around on 218s, there's not quite that feeling of I'm in the middle of the field. When you're playing a trial event where you've got that, I need to focus up here, otherwise I'm not going to make it through to the next pool or the next knockout stage. It makes it interesting, but at the same time, if you're not looking to play competitively, you just play for fun, and you get the same rank players will be then playing against each other.
Yeah,
and it's
definitely.
It separates those who want to be competitive from those who don't particularly want to be as competitive but want to have fun and want to learn. It's the opportunity to learn the first round and then have fun with people their ability in the second round.
Yeah, no, that's such a great format, and it's really refreshing to be able to mix it up and play those kind of events. And I think not being sanctioned is the key to being able to do that. And it's a cool different trend. I like it. Yeah, I want to play match play now. Shane says in chat we need more match play events. Yeah, I'm checking my calendar to see if I can make the Arrow Valley match play for sure.
So date wise, we've got a classic event. You have to pardon me, I've forgotten the names of our tournaments already. But we've got a classic event on the 4th of July. That's 2 rounds of 18 at our Arrow Valley Disc Golf course. Obviously, the layout has changed. It used to be just a main 9. We've now added a back 9 with a good bit of variation. Some really interesting holes in there. Got a par 3 playing to an average of about 4.1 at the moment.
Wow.
So it's a tricky hole, but it's playing hard. But obviously not too hard for the beginners.
Sure.
It's very, very easy to get down there in 4 shots, but getting down there in 3 is a tricky task. And then we've got the trial event, which is the doubles event on the 25th of July, also at Arrow Valley. Both of these events are £6 each, and the sign-up goes up 2 weeks prior, but obviously the Monday evening, so 13 days in advance.
Nice.
All the details on our Facebook page, Arrow Valley Disc Golf. And we've also got social media, Instagram @_AVDG.
Very nice. Great job shouting everything out. And you guys make sure you go check those events out.
We do have Twitter as well. People have to excuse us. We're having a few problems with that. Twitter. On Twitter's end, not ours, but that's at the same username as our Instagram. So give us a follow, and at some point we'll be starting to put things up on there.
Very good. Cool. I think that's a good natural conclusion for the show this week. So so Matthew, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Been a pleasure.
It's been good to catch up, and thank you to everyone in chat for hanging out as well. And I will do my best at Quarry Park. I have to drive down and work in the commentary office tomorrow, so I'll be leaving at 6:30. So a nice early morning for me.
Yeah, good luck on the weekend.
Thank you, and good luck with your tournament as well.
Thank you so much.
And thanks to everyone in chat, and we'll see you next week for some kind of podcast. Guest TBC. See you guys.